RWBY Volume 1, Episode 1, Ruby Rose. I'm Connor.
I'm Zach.
I'm Mike.
So we're starting this new series here of going through every episode of RWBY, episode by episode. That's the plan, is to go through every single one.
Oh my God.
And judge them based on their appearances, their animation. That we're just looking to see if we enjoyed it or not, really. It's going to be spoiler heavy. Lots of details. Lots of off-topic, possibly. So the episode starts off with a heavy hand of exposition. I think that's the exact wording I used for the Hotter swap. From an unknown narrator. But we now know it to be the big baddie of the series, Salem. And there are a few lines that I pulled because I wonder. I've thought, RWBY's a series of a lot of foreshadowing.
No.
And I really like that. But I'm wondering if some of these lines I'm looking too much into them.
Legends. Stories scattered through time. Mankind has grown quite fond of recounting the exploits of heroes and villains, forgetting so easily that we are remnants, byproducts of a forgotten past.
Referencing what we now know to be Season 6, of course, and the fairy tale theme of the show.
Magic.
But then immediately after that, she follows up with "man born from dust." Blah 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 blah. So is she just like saying like dust or dust?
See, I'm thinking dust.
I feel like they meant earth dust. Like they were created because like the whole. There's a spoiler, anyway, because of the two gods. Stuff.
And that's one thing that I've thought about with the gods is dust, as far as we know, never existed on the older humanity. Back on the first go around, assuming it's the first, because they had magic. So it seemed with the dust to be coming up with the second go around and everything. I feel like there's some link there.
Well, yeah, because it would put a limitation. When there was magic, there wasn't as much control. And so then, of course, as the second coming, dust allows it to be, well, certain users can, do it better than others. But it's not something you can just all the time, like fireball.
Mm-hmm.
You actually have you have to have the crystals or the dust themselves. A little bit more manageable. Mother Nature needs to control its pawns.
Is that implying that humans can't use magic, or they can only use magic through dust?
I'm implying that through dust, magic can be used.
It also brings up the question: do Salem and Ozpin have semblances?
Well, we know they do.
Well,
What's their semblance?
think they do.
Well, I don't know about Salem.
Because they have.
Well, I
Ozpin's?
guess Ozpin's is not a semblance. That's just like a.
It's what I
magic.
thought his semblance was, but it was revealed that that's just his curse from the gods.
Yeah, as I say, it's more of a
gift.
curse than a semblance. So yeah, I guess I don't know.
My theory is that they use magic, and pretty much like by extension, semblances are like fragments of what the old world was.
Can you imagine how fucking OP that must have been?
Yes.
What would a battle just between two people have been like if they were capable of so much vast,
just unlimited?
I have a feeling we're gonna find out some more information.
I hope we get to see a battle. Also makes me see we've immediately gone into like just possible theories for the future. I wonder if Ozpin can only have so much magic per lifetime, or if it's throughout his entire reincarnation cycle that he gets a limited amount of magic. He's just referenced that he's kind of running low on it.
The Salem never died. She just fell into a grim pool. So
it fell into the oozy jacuzzi.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten out of the opening, like the introduction for the series.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's because it alludes to a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Like the opening is, at the time, I just thought he was just setting the scene, but he was setting the whole fucking storyline.
Yeah. Because you get like the background on the Grim, on humanity's battle against them and all that, and you think that's all it is just, just the background for the whole world. It's like, all right, well, this is kind of, yeah, I feel like they could have done it in a more creative way, but I guess limited on time, helps for budget reasons and all that. No, there's more behind it than was initially thought, and I like that.
Everything is done with a purpose.
And I like that a lot. A couple more quotes here.
But even the most brilliant lights eventually flicker and die.
I wonder if she's talking about Ozpin as that brilliant light.
When I was rewatching it last night, I was thinking the same thing. Like, I was thinking before, it was kind of like, oh, just like, kind of like the Dark Ages. It was just, and on like current Earth, just turmoil kind of took over all of Europe and all this. But then I was like, well, I'm thinking since pretty much Salem and Ozpin kind of represent the two gods in a sense.
Like
I'm thinking, yeah, the champions. I'm thinking something big happens to Ozpin. I don't think I don't think he'll be able to reincarnate no more.
That'd be interesting.
Oscar is his final body.
His
final vessel.
I'd love to see a Richard moment from him. Richard from Lost. Which is
like Richard from fucking Naruto? D&D?
No, because like Richard from Lost is an immortal character who's lived hundreds and hundreds of years. And eventually he ends up losing his immortality and he starts aging again. And one of the characters calls out that he's got like a gray hair. Welcome to the old club. And he goes, huh, after all these years, I just remembered that I want to live. I wonder if we're going to get that from Ozpin and say, oh, this is my last go-around. Better make it count.
Right.
Let me take over this body now.
And so, continues on with one more quote.
So you may prepare your guardians. Build your monuments to a so-called free world. But take heed. There will be no victory in strength.
But perhaps victory is in the simpler things that you've long forgotten. Things that require a smaller, more honest soul.
I wonder if this is an actual conversation that the two have had. I wonder if we'll get a flashback to it at some point. Because like Ozpin used some of his magic to lock her away into the tower that she's currently in again, putting her back in that cycle that started their whole incident, their whole being together.
I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking it's either an allusion to potentially Oscar or even Ruby herself. I mean,
that's what I took more as.
It's pretty clear that she's like the main character. But I have a feeling that, it's kind of alluding to that Ruby will be the big difference. So, this time.
For sure.
Oh, man. We're going to get... Once we start introducing all the characters, kind of like at the end of this episode, I guess we can do it now. So, in this episode, we get introduced to Ruby, Yang, and Jean. Fuck, some of these characters are different.
Now versus back in season 1.
Yeah, season 6 versus episode 1.
Nah. Sure. What are you talking about, Vomit Boy?
Yeah, Vomit Boy versus now he's fucking fighting Cinder, someone who has actual magic, just going straight after her. A lot of people criticize him for that, for his actually thinking that he can take Cinder. Oh man, I was rooting for him. I was rooting for him so hard though.
Yeah, because that was just before Siblings Awakening.
Yeah. And we finally got that one hit that like almost hit her, and like I think it broke her mask. It's like, ooh, just a little bit more, Jean. You almost there, almost.
I was hoping he awakened the semblance during that fight. Just used it because they were talking about it. I think like a few episodes before in that same season.
Yeah.
I honestly thought his semblance was gonna be cooler.
The amplification I really like.
It's fitting.
Nice. but I just thought something cooler was gonna happen.
Yeah,
I did too.
thought he was going to be more of a hero than a support.
Yeah, exactly. It was like there's a lot of build up for it. You get a lot of aura. Like, what are you gonna do with this? You know, like a big sword or something, just like make an explosion. I don't know.
Nah, I'm gonna make you better.
Call upon the spirits of the dead to fight alongside me. Ooh.
Ooh, that'd be pretty nuts.
Seeing him fight alongside Pyrrha again. Ooh.
Hey, stop that.
Yeah, I know.
Fear
I'm sorry.
can't be undead. She's alive or not. I won't accept it.
So the episode continues, and we see Torchwick and the whole dust robbery scene beginning to play out. And Ruby's in the shop while the whole robbery's going on. She's listening to some music, listening to the theme song to the show. Caught something this go around that I didn't catch any time before.
What's that?
You know, on the music racks behind her, there's a familiar face. I know at the very least Mike would know. Zach, I think you're familiar with it. You see Truth from
You're
Full Metal
joking.
Alchemist.
You're joking, dude.
Nope,
you
it's
serious?
there. Yeah. And then we have that whole fight that ensues, starting off with Ruby breaking out of that window. And I always like that shot of her, like, getting up out of the broken glass and seeing the city behind her.
I always like before even that. I like the. Are you robbing me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
His voice is so stupid too.
Well,
Just-
apparently his all the henchmen are voiced by Make-A-Wish people.
Oh really?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
I saw that on the wiki.
All right. Well, that's not stupid voice anymore.
GG.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I had no idea either until I looked it up.
I was
But
ready
after
for
she
these
beats
comments.
the henchman, you see Adam like, "All right, little girl." Not Adam.
Torchwick.
Roman.
You
Torchwick.
see Adam. I don't know if you look. If you look deep into the background, you see Adam there.
Adam is
So-
Torchwick.
So I was gonna, so Adam is actually Torchwick this whole time.
Could be. I don't know. But no,
I love his
we-
flare gun so much. I love Torchwick's flare gun so much. The introduction of it just being a cane and they hold it up and they just dink, pops open and it shoots. And I love the sound of flares. It just
Yeah.
That animation though.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Animation is a very mix of shaky and great all at the same time.
I was looking through the comments, and a lot of people who recently commented are like, "Oh, I'm just waiting for Volume 7, going back through." You know, the animation in this season sucked compared to 6.
It is really weird because like there's one scene in particular where Roman crushes his cigar and it just looks awful. But then you see, like, in moments later, when we see the fight between Glenda Goodwitch versus the Jet, when she's using the telekinesis, it just looks incredible.
Yeah, like they put a lot of work there.
Well, it just shows too that it was all time crunch, like that he was put under certain things where he definitely focused on more stuff. Like when Ruby is kind of flipping around in the air, you can tell he really focused on how the body moves. But like you're right, with like the little things like the cigar, it's like that's it. It's gonna disappear.
Yeah, frame A to frame B, and that's that. But as you know, that the fighting is what drew a lot of people into the show. That's what drew me into it.
I mean, it definitely was a big factor of why I wanted to watch it. I just always liked Monty's stuff, though.
Mm-hmm. I think you were going somewhere with the whole Torchwick thing before I broke off on that tangent.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay. Well, yeah, Torchwick starts running away after shooting that flare. Climbs into a jet. But then he ends up, or Ruby ends up being saved by Glinda from the jets that shoots a missile, was it? I can't remember.
Saved.
Well, you know.
He threw a red crystal.
Oh, okay. That's when Glinda Goodwitch comes in. So, think we're ever gonna see her again?
Nope.
I miss Glinda so much,
I
dude.
do too.
Yeah, but the voice actor didn't play it smart.
Yeah, she had that whole ordeal happen. But I feel like that character is just too important to not come back over something like that. Especially since Crow's getting a new voice actor.
I have a feeling she'll get a new voice actor. I just, like you said, she is so prominent in this first area, and just her power is clearly pretty incredible. That it's almost like it almost wonders that, is she using magic herself? Nonetheless, I don't know. I have a feeling Ozpin is gonna look to her and be like, "Hey, it's me again. I'm Ozpin, even though I'm Oscar." Haha.
While this whole fight's happening, we see Glinda showing off her semblance of incredibly overpowered semblance. Some people really get the short end of the stick.
Semblance.
She doesn't have the eye glows to indicate a maiden power, but I did think that.
Well, I'm not saying it's a maiden power as well. Could just be magic.
That's true. It could be. Maybe Ozpin gave her something.
See, I'm thinking Ozpin gave her something.
It's like an STD.
GG. Now that you mention it, like her power is telekinesis, but she created a freaking storm.
Yeah. I was gonna say, she created a storm, and then not only that, I mean, I guess that would be considered telekinesis with the shards. Yeah, I guess that you could consider that telekinesis.
No.
But then she also created a glyph.
And I'm thinking it could be similar to Weiss's, to where it uses dust to charge it for special effects. Even though the glyphs make no sense for some of the things they do, like the lightning charge glyph is time dilation. So I'm just thinking it could be something like that.
Potentially. I hopefully we find out. If not, R.I.P. Glinda.
Actually, she used a magic wand.
Mm.
Just pull a rabbit out of a hat.
And then we get our first look at Cinder, who goes on to have her little battle with Glinda.
Without even knowing, too. Little did we know, she's actually using magic. Well, we also finally learned, in that same scene is, hey, a huntress is here, and it kind of introduces us to the idea that Glinda might be a specific type of fighter. Because, yeah, Roman goes, hey, we have a huntress. And then Cinder's the one who takes over.
Yep, we get introduced to the huntsmen and huntresses. We get introduced to the huntsmen and huntresses.
Damn.
I was rooting for you.
But then they get away, of course, and, we cut to the interrogation between RWBY and Glinda. RWBY's just being hard scolded. And then after the little scolding happens, we get introduced to one of my top 5 characters, Ozpin.
Who's your number one?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
Where does Oz place in that list?
I don't know. I haven't thought it out exactly as to what order they're all in. I think Ozpin's number 2.
He's a bitch.
Wow.
He's so cool.
He hides
such
inside
a good character.
of other people's bodies.
Because
get your own fucking body.
Wow. Is he supposed to just float in nothing?
He was very polarizing in season 6 to a lot of people, but all that did was reinforce my views of him. I thought he was the genuinely good character of the series, and all that did was make me think, yeah, he is the genuinely good character of the series.
Yeah, I will agree with that statement. However, I wanted to see more out of him.
Oh, yeah. I absolutely did not want to see him hide. I wanted to see him challenge it. I want to see a character challenge these little girls and with them being like, how could you lie to us? Don't you know about all these other things? It's like, bitch, what the fuck do you want from me? I am trying to fight an immortal god. What have you done? Oh, you want to go home and cry? Oh, you want to go home and be like, oh, let me just live my life for the next 100 years and bury this relic so that way it's not my problem. You fucking children. You trained to become huntresses.
I was so mad, dude. Oh, I just...
Well, even Oscar was like, yeah, no, he's like not even present inside me. Like, he is gone. He came back like once, didn't he? He came back a couple times, but like one
He came
major
back
moment.
one time.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, Ozpin's great, and I don't know. I thought he's like, do you know who I am? Well, yeah, you're the beacon guy.
You're Professor Ozpin. But before even that happens, he has his whole line, though. You have silver eyes. Indicating what I thought was just a very one-off statement. Ends up being, oh, you're a super badass ancient demon warrior kind of a thing.
Do you think the silver eyes was also why he allowed her to come in early?
Yes, I do. I think it was a mix of the silver eyes and a mix of her character.
Because she was so badass at such a young age.
And badass at a young age and also had good morals. It was exactly... like I see her as a reflection of Ozpin. She is exactly who he has been trying to create with this generation. Someone who's just trying to do good. Someone who's trying to help people. Someone who has their own goals, of course, their own personal life goals, but someone who their main goal is to help people. Which, makes... I'm going to touch back on the Ozpin thing. Did any of them think that when they went into the huntsman career that it was a part-time gig? Did they think that after 20 years of putting in their life work, they'd finally be able to call it off and be like, all right, that's it, we killed all the Grimm.
Done and done. And I understood it, it was Yang's. I guess that was just her character, and they're just building her character still, but.
I'm so back and forth on Yang all the time between loving her and hating her.
I have always wanted Yang to be badass, and she finally prevailed. But I'm tired. I was getting tired of the sulking little bitch. I lose my arm. Shut the fuck up. Hajime did it first. Shut the fuck up.
Actually, Hajime didn't do it first.
What do you mean? Wasn't Hajime before Yang?
I mean, plenty of people got their arms
I don't think so.
I mean, Mace Windu kind of had the same reaction. But then Anakin and fucking Luke, they're just like, well, that sucks.
So what's the better reaction to have between Mace Windu and Yang when they initially lost the arm? Yang where she just immediately passes out, or Mace Windu going, ah!
Out the window.
Probably passing out.
I don't even understand why she passed out. Yeah, it would hurt. Well, I guess it could be a body reaction.
Yeah, that's what I took this.
Dude. Yeah.
Sure, but as a huntress, I assume she has a fuck ton of adrenaline going through her. That maybe after the fight and things have calmed down, you might pass out or drop to the floor just from being so winded. But you're supposed to be a badass, and you're just gonna be a little bitch. She cut off your arm. Great. Kira essentially took an arrow to the knee. Calm down.
Shot through the heart.
I mean,
to blame.
John's to blame for sure. Should have jumped in between that arrow.
And then had Ruby gotten there just a little bit quicker, things would have been so much different.
Did you guys stop being so disrespectful and honor Pierre's death?
Why would I honor her death? She chose to die.
She got Thanos snapped.
She essentially did. She's a little bitch. She didn't even try and fight her off.
How dare you?
Keep this in. Let's start some fights. I don't actually think this, but let's start some fights.
All right.
No, I like Pyrrha. That was a surprising death. I was very surprised. But we were way ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. Let's pull it back here. Pull it back. Ozpin's talking to Ruby, getting that whole thing where we get the first reference to Crow. Which he actually gets referenced a lot in these first two seasons before we actually see him.
Yeah, he does.
So when he's some dusty old crow, which is actually a pun.
He's like, yeah, that's my uncle.
Which that's a fun joke for the RT community.
Yeah.
Is in a podcast, Bernie once started as oh, you describe anime. He's like, oh, that's my uncle. That ended up being a joke that carried into the RTAA, into RWBY, and all that. And yeah, as you said, Ozpin lets her into the school. And that's when we get introduced to Yang with the hard cut onto the jet or whatever flying vehicle they're in that's going to the school.
School bus.
And as soon as I first met Yang in this episode, I was like, oh, thank God. All my concerns from the trailer, gone. She is everything that I like right now. Well, it's in the trailer, she was just a cunt.
Yeah, the clumsy.
She walks up. Instead of asking a question, he just grabs his dick. Tell me what I want to know. Tell me now. It's like, you need to ask the question, please.
Where is she?
Have mercy.
I thought she was badass initially, but I just hated her.
Too.
Yep.
Anyway, that's another theory. I mean, it's not a theory; it's true, but at least we can assume.
Yeah, I think the main antagonist is like a giant wolf.
No, I think the main antagonist is Salem.
No, I do not.
Wouldn't it be cool though if like, all right, so it wasn't Salem, and it turns out,
and the wolf is also a gun.
And the wolf is also like Ruby's grandma. What big ears you have!
Oh shit! Turns out that's her mom's semblance. She's actually a wolf.
So right
that's actually possible.
Like
that's an interesting theory.
Yeah, I never thought about that. What if that's the reason why she wears the hood in that one picture, and why she left home? Because what if she's like a werewolf and that's her semblance? It's pure speculation. That's not founded upon anything other than the little.
No, but that's interesting to think about. And well, they talk about legends and fairy tales. Like it's not possible.
I think it's because she's one of the maidens. But I mean, if it turns out she's a werewolf, we called it.
Call it here first. But like, you think Yang's mom and then also Ruby's mom are gonna be fucking
oh God, I hope
maiden?
So. I think so. But I also think like every other character is a maiden. I think Winter Schnee is a maiden. I also thought Glinda was a maiden for a good time. Anytime a character just shows themselves to be an incredibly powerful female character, I think maybe that's a maiden.
Glinda still could be. You know, let's not count tickets for the hatch.
I don't know. I don't think Glinda is actually a maiden. I mean, I think if anything, Ozpin gave her powers, but I mean, we know for sure that Yang's mom is Raven. We know Raven's a one. We know Cinder's one.
She dies. God, I hate Raven. God, I hate Raven.
Why?
I think her character is pretty well built though.
Absolutely.
Aside from that,
incredibly well written, but fuck, do I hate her.
Why? Why do you hate her?
Because she's a bitch.
She is not a bitch. Take that.
She
back.
is the definition. If you look in the dictionary, her picture's right there with it.
GG.
You are an angry fella.
I just hate Raven so much. In every scene that she's in, it's like, alright, what are you gonna do to somehow make me like you less today?
Bruh.
Every time.
She ran away to protect her powers.
No, she ran away to protect herself.
Yeah.
No.
She says she's all about, she's like, for the clan, you're all about your precious clan.
She's all for Ozpin in everything she does. You just don't see it.
I don't. So I've thought about that. Like, what if she has like a redemption arc and she actually returns to Ozpin to fight alongside Crow? I just don't even want that. I don't want to have that to happen. Adam didn't get a redemption arc. I don't want Raven to get a redemption arc.
Fuck Adam. Get over your Adam boner.
Who has committed more murder, Raven or Adam?
Adam.
Raven.
Probably Raven. Actually.
Well,
she murders villages. We have literally seen a village burned to the ground at her hands.
That's fair.
Adam got involved in an attack that was already happening with or without him, and killed some people. He's not a bad guy. Not saying that. He is a bad guy. I'm not saying that he's not. But Raven's worse.
No.
So should we just should we side tangent now, or are we still saving it?
Do whatever you want right now.
For all we know, Adam's coming back.
If Adam comes back, then I think we have.
I can't imagine.
I think there's a very serious problem that's gonna happen.
Jean unlocks his side semblance to fight with dead characters. He's fighting alongside Adam. It'd be pretty cool to see Adam as you know how Weiss's ability to summon the Grimm are like the white and blue versions, the color scheme.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that on Adam.
Dude, that would be cool. Nonetheless, so Yang's on the ship.
And we got that whole tangent just from Yang, huh?
Yup.
And then, Yang's introduced. I absolutely love her character. All my concerns were brushed away at this point. I thought, okay, she's nothing like the trailer. This is a character that is just a good person, young, youthful, vibrant. I'm sure that's not going to be cut away from her anytime soon. And then we get introduced to Jean, who is also very different.
Vomit Boy.
Yeah, he's Vomit Boy. Versus now when he's...
He's Goku.
Headlong into battle.
I think
he's
it's
a strategist who makes bad strategies every now and then.
Every now and then?
Most of his strategies have been absolutely flawless until, the final strategy of Season 6. God, I can't wait till we get to Season 6. There's going to be so much. There's going to be so much salt. And love.
And tears.
And tears. Nonetheless, Yang is still one of my favorite characters. And after rewatching, I cringed. Because I hated the true Barbara that came out in her. Because I want Yang to be so badass, but she's like, oh, my little sister, pinching the cheeks and shit. Like, no, don't be lovey-dovey. Go kick some ass.
Hey, she does both. There's one thing, I really respect how good of voice actors they found for the low budget that they had at the time. Because even Barbara, Lindsay, they never did any voice work prior to this, as far as I understand. Maybe a little bit in Red vs. Blue here and there, but nothing major. But I think they do a fantastic job with the RWBY characters.
They did a good job getting into character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And then the final thing we're introduced to, final of two things. We get introduced to the White Fang very briefly before it gets cut off by a news broadcast. Or by Glinda's broadcast.
Yeah, as I say, Glinda.
And then we get introduced to Beacon. We arrive at Beacon Academy, and that's where the episode ends.
Don't forget about all my wonderful silhouettes.
Yes, those fantastic silhouettes that absolutely... They don't look as bad to me in hindsight, but fuck, do they still look jarring.
It just shows you the time crunch and lack of budget.
And attempts at creative, compromise that just didn't work out as well.
That too.
I wonder if I get cast as one of those silhouettes in a remake. He's put me in front of the boom mic. He's standing the whole time. All right, good job.
At a reading.
That would be the most terrifying thing, just filling in those silhouettes with just people, and they're just still frames of a person just looking at you.
All right, cut.
All right, so I gotta go. Here's my friends. Gotta go. Bye. And just someone
just standing there.
Just Mike staring at you.
And so finally, we hear the theme song of Volume 1. I don't know if at any point we should analyze songs. I think once we get to newer seasons, that might be something that I want to do.
This would be the day you're waiting for.
I'd love to do a reaction and an analysis of the Volume 7 trailer when it drops.
Yeah?
Because there were some things that I called in the Volume 6 trailer that absolutely happened.
Like what?
That was like Neo returning.
Oh, fair.
Because we see Torchwick's hat fly across. I was like, oh, it's Neo! It's Neo! It's gotta be Neo!
Oh yeah, I remember that. I was there for that. Like on the day it released, like so I can see.
I remember like even the episode before Neo came back, like they saw the hat return and it just flew by, and I thought it was like Salem being like haunted by her past. I was like, oh, I guess it's not Neo. Oh, that's a shame. And then next episode, there she is.
Yep, I was like, GG.
Well, so I figure we should also give every single episode a rating, and at the end of the season, we'll like give a collective season rating, or maybe combine the ratings that we gave throughout into one.
That's fair.
So what would you rate the first episode?
Mike, go first.
I give it an 8.
Ow.
8 out of 10?
8 out of 10. Yeah.
Wow.
Zach?
I'm actually going a little bit lower. I'm going at 6. Not that it was bad. I enjoyed the fight scenes, but it wasn't enough to be like, this is a great episode. But I don't expect an amazing episode out of a first episode. So it's not a hindrance. It's just a 6 out of... If I were to compare it versus knowing what I know of all the other episodes, it was a good scene setter.
Okay. Well, I'll rate it an 8 out of 10 as well. I'll be with Mike on that. Here's bad that Yang wasn't a badass in this episode.
No, I wasn't upset about that.
Just joking.
If I'm weighing like the drawbacks versus what I liked, like the things that I didn't like were just like the length of the episode, the silhouette things.
Silhouette's bad.
And is like the other things that like I guess I liked that made it like a higher than normal is I like the theme, the intro drew me into the story, so I was like, there's gonna be more to this. So I mean, this is kind of interesting. CG
Fair.
didn't put me off.
The fights
as
are the
it's-
big thing for me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm done.
Okay. The fights were the big thing for me. The fights were always a huge thing for drawing me into the series. The music I thought was incredible. And whereas the animation I thought was absolutely lacking, I thought it was acceptable. It was the first episode, so I expected. No, it's okay. You went with 6 out of 10. That's your gut feeling. You're sticking to it.
Yeah, I gotta stick with that.
You never have to stick with it.
Well, except I'm forcing you to because I already wrote it down.
Get wrecked.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that 6. I mean, the fighting scenes were great. I just felt like there were a lot of drawbacks that could get someone to not want to continue with the show. The silhouettes is a big one, and then earlier on when we were talking about like with Roman and the cigar, that's one of them as well. It's just little things like that. If someone were, a big anime watcher, could potentially find some issues there.
I mean, I personally didn't. I'm pretty big. It wasn't
no,
awful,
sure.
especially for like a newer series. And I guess that's one of the things that kind of drew to like, hey, this is new. Like these designs are like new animators. Like this is a new team. Where are they gonna go with this? And go up or down? I'm interested to see where that's gonna actually go.
Well, sure, but if like going from the trailers, I feel like the trailers had better animation than the episode did.
Well,
And so if you were to watch the trailer, it'd be like Jump Force. The trailers look pretty cool of a game. You get in the game, it's absolute dog shit.
So let's not compare
mouth,
Jump Force to RWBY. I don't think that same example kind of applies. Nah, this is just an introductory episode. I don't expect them to whip out this new animation or a new company or whatever. I don't expect them to pull out all the guns on the first episode.
No, but your animation should be consistent, I feel.
As they were working with a limited budget. But
No,
that's
and I
still
get it. I know
that's
the
not
factor.
something
Not everyone knows those factors.
Exactly. Well, I figure we'll end things with that then. So hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time with episode 2. A special thank you to our patrons. Your support helps us grow inch by inch, building the foundations for the future of HSG. So thank you. If you'd like to become a patron, be sure to check out the description for a link to our Patreon, where you can get things like stickers, shirts, or even the chance to work with me to create a major character for the RWBY D&D. I know we're already letting you request a character, but, the paid version's cooler. Comes with some extra benefits. And be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't, and ring that bell to be alerted to our videos. Or don't. It's a free internet. You can choose.